that define all the parameters that are used to calculate the area and the brightness area product measurements. As I mentioned earlier, the area and the brightness area product measurements sample voxels that fall within a circular ROI that have a value within a certain threshold range. So here, the sample max min defines that threshold range, and the sample radius sets the size of that circular ROI. The sample max min you see here was carried forward from the threshold range that we set at the beginning when we were segmenting our vessels. If you need to change that, you can do that at this point. The stats file location is where your statistics are going to be saved to. And if you recall those mini obliques or the cross-sectional images that we discussed, those will also be saved to this location as mini oblique files or analyzed ADW files, and they can be loaded back into Analyze later. So we'll go ahead and save that and calculate all these statistics. So in the summary file that's returned, we have the different segments, and the statistics that are returned are the averages and the subsequent child branches and all the other statistics that we have, the standard deviations for each segment on the tree. As you highlight the segment, it's highlighted again back in the tree plot window, and this brightness area product plot is returned. What this tells us is the BAP of each point along that segment. So if you select the different segments, obviously the plot will be updated. So we'll select this B1 branch here, and when we click Detailed, the B1 branch is automatically segmented in this detailed plot here. When we select the different points in the B1 segment, they'll be updated in this plot window. The other thing that this detailed option shows us, it gives us the index, the brightness area product, the area, as well as the 3D volume coordinates for each individual point along the tree. And these are the mini oblique or cross-sectional images that I was talking about earlier. What you have here is the unthresholded as well as the thresholded vessel. All right. As I mentioned, these have already been automatically saved out into your disk, so we can go ahead and close that, and it's saved. If you want to save the tree as a volume and load it back into Analyze, you can do that as well. To do that, you would say File, Save Skeletal Volume, and we can save this as Coronary CT Volume. Click Save, and if we exit out of the tree analysis module and select Load As, we'll find that ADW volume here, and click Load. And now that binary tree has been loaded into Analyze. If you wanted to save out this slide through movie as we discussed earlier, you can say File, Save As, and set the format to QuickTime or AVI. So that about sums up our demonstration here. So I'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Like I have one that just came in here. Is the tree analysis an add-on, or do I have access to it from my main copy of Analyze? That's a great question. The tree analysis module actually does come with the base Analyze package, which means if you're an Analyze customer, you've already got access to this module. So if you would like help with the module, go ahead and get in contact with us, and we'd be glad to answer any questions you have about it. Another question just came in. Let's see, how do you know what threshold values and ROI size to use for the vessel measurements? So how you set the sample max min and the sample radius in that stats option window, that will all depend on your vessels. So the sample max min should be set based on the max min voxel values of your vessels. And the sample radius should be set larger than the expected radius of your vessels in the tree. So that's kind of a bit of guidelines for you there. Hopefully that helps answer the question. One more came in here. Can you export the vessel surface? Not directly from the tree analysis module. However, you could segment the vessels from the data using a module like Volume Render, and then extract the surface extractor module, and then that would allow you to output the surface in a representation such as STL. I'm going to go ahead and show that real quick, because that could be useful for people. So if we take our original data set here, and we'll segment out those vessels using Volume Render. So we use the threshold tool. Didn't have all my windows set. So if we threshold down to just the vessels, that as its own object, and click threshold volume. So you can see that red object is just the thresholded vessels. So click Done and save that object map out. Once we've done that in volume render, we can open up the surface extraction module under the segment menu. We'll load in that object. I'm going to generate extraction, make sure that just the vessels are turned on, and then click Extract. So the surface is extracted, and we can save that out. File, and we've got all these formats here that you can write out as a surface format file. All right. So that's how you would save the vessels out of the surface. So go ahead and continue without saving there. Okay, it looks like we got another question in here. So, how is the internal rendering of the vessel created? I'm guessing you're referring back to that the internal fly-through renderings. So those are actually generated based on the selected threshold that we set to segment the volume down to the vessels, and then the internal renderings that are created using the perspective volume rendering. And what it's showing you is the rendered wall of the vessel, and that's strictly dependent on the threshold setting. All right. I have one more question that came in here. Can you use the cross-sectional images of the vessels in Analyze? Yes, you can. The cross-sectional images generated from our data set are kind of small, but I can show you how to load them in here. So as I said, they were automatically saved out when we saved our stat files. So to load them back into Analyze, we just use the Load As module, and we select those mini obliques. And now, as I mentioned before, they were saved out as thresholded and not thresholded. So to load them as a separate volume, we need to use the subregion tab. And what we'll do is we'll just set the first increment to 2. That'll skip every other slice. Load that in. And then we'll load in the second. The second set, which would be the thresholded volume. Set that to 2 as well. The low increment means every other one starting at the second one. Go ahead and click Load. And here you have your regular, or your unthresholded, and your thresholded mini obliques. Those are the cross-sectional images which our measurements were created from. So if you wanted to use those in Analyze for further analysis, you could do it that way. All right. I think that about concludes the webinar today. So in conclusion, watch for an email from Analyze webinars tomorrow. That'll have the link where you can find more information about the tree analysis module. And we do have other helpful documents and protocols that are already up online. They're available from our website at the Analyze Resource Center under the support section. And if you're not currently using Analyze, or if you're using an older version of Analyze, we certainly invite you to evaluate Analyze 10.0. And we do have a free 30-day trial. You can request your license from the evaluation page of our website, analyzedirect.com/evaluate. And if you have future webinar ideas, maybe an application that you would like us to review for a webinar, please send us any ideas that you have. We'd be happy to look over them and possibly have your application shown in a webinar. You can send that to webinars@analyzedirect.com. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to contact me, Amy McMaster, and you can see my contact information there below. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. Muted. The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye. Hello, and welcome to our special webinar today on Analyze 11.0. My name is Beth Adams, and I'm going to be your presenter. Looks like we're waiting for just a few more people to join, so I'll wait just another minute, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started then. So, as usual, our webinar today is going to last for around 30 minutes. And what I'll be covering today is I'll be providing you with information about the Analyze 11.0 release. And I will